We are live on ERi-TV with English news broadcasting viewers. The broadcasting crew and myself invite you to stay with us up until the end. To begin with, I present you the top stories. The Southern Red Sea Region Administration conducted activity assessment meeting. Eritrean Community Festival in Switzerland celebrated colorfully. In our international, Pakistan to host next round of US-Iran talks. And the Presidents Putin and Trump held a telephone conversation. Welcome again. In our domestic news, the Southern Red Sea Region Administration conducted an assessment meeting on 4 July in the port city of Asab on the progress of the implementation of socio-economic programs in the first half of 2026. The meeting reviewed efforts exerted in statistics and cartographic information, potable water supply in the port city of Asab, construction and agricultural development, construction and renovation of terraces, educational services and female participation, as well as healthcare service coverage and efforts exerted to control malaria. According to reports presented at the meeting, 8 kindergartens, 2 elementary schools and 2 junior schools were constructed in 10 villages, while 8 additional classrooms were constructed in the Afambu administrative area. The reports further noted that sweet potatoes cultivated on 5 hectares of land were distributed to 34 farmers, and 200 kilometers of terraces were constructed on 500 hectares of land. Commending the implementation of the charted out programs, Ambassador Mohammed Said Mantai, governor of the region, called for strengthening coordinated efforts for the implementation of development programs in the second half of the year. In another news, Eritrean nationals residing in Switzerland colorfully conducted their annual festival on 4 and 5 July in the city of Lucerne, which nationals from 26 regions of Switzerland took part. The annual festival officially opened by Ms. Sofia Tesfamariam, Eritrea's permanent ambassador to the United Nations, and Mr. Habtom Zerai, chargé d'affaires at the Eritrean embassy in Switzerland, and Eritrea's permanent representative to the United Nations and other international organizations in Geneva, featured a village representing the regions of Eritrea and the National Union of Eritrean Women, cultural presentations, children's programs, seminars, and other activities. The programs presented in the form of competitions and accorded wide acclamation by visitors included presentations acquainting visitors with the cultures and traditions of Eritrean society, efforts and progress to ensure social justice, the history and values of the Eritrean people, Eritrea's agricultural products and natural resources, as well as traditional costumes of Eritrea's ethnic groups and villages representing the regions of Eritrea. At the occasion, Ambassador Sofia Tesfamariam gave a briefing on the agenda discussed by the Human Rights Council last June. She also answered questions raised by the participants. It was noted that the objective of the festivals conducted by diaspora nationals is to enable nationals preserve their cultural and identity and transfer noble societal values and national identity to the younger generation, discuss national issues as well as reflect the true image of Eritrea and Eritreans. The festival was highlighted by cultural and artistic performances by a cultural troupe from Eritrea. Certificates of participation were also presented to participants. Moving on to the Northern Red Sea region, the Office of the Ministry of Labor and Social Welfare in Ginda subzone organized a seminar for women in general and women workers in particular, focusing on labor law on July 2nd. At the seminar, Mr. Yasin Mohammed, head of the office branch, gave a briefing based on Proclamation number 118/2001, focusing on labor law and productivity, safety and health at the workplace, pregnancy and delivery issues, salary and rights, annual and weekly leave, and other related issues. Indicating that the objective of the seminar was to enhance the understanding of the public, especially women, Mr. Dawit Waldanugus, a judge at the Labor Court in the Northern Red Sea region, gave a briefing on the activities of the Labor Court. Mr. Ibrahim Umar, head of the Ministry of Labour and Social Welfare branch in the Ginda subzone, on his part, called for reinforced participation by women in efforts to eradicate harmful practices. We'll be back with international news after the short break. Dear viewers, stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, the global arena. Pakistan will host the next round of negotiations between the United States and Iran on July 11, Saudi news channel reported on Saturday. Citing resources, the report said the upcoming round will focus on U.S. sanctions on Iran, Iranian frozen assets, and the Iranian nuclear file. It added that the level of representation of the Iranian delegation will be decided after the funeral of late Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. On June 18, Iran and the United States signed a memorandum of understanding on ending the war in the region on all fronts, including Lebanon. On June 22nd, technical negotiations between Iran and the United States were held in Switzerland following high-level consultations between Iranian and U.S. delegations the previous day, with the mediation of Pakistan and Qatar. On Wednesday, Qatari Foreign Ministry spokesperson confirmed that Qatari and Pakistani mediators had concluded separate meetings with U.S. and Iranian negotiators, making positive progress on issues related to the Memorandum of Understanding. He said the parties agreed to continue discussions in the coming period, with the next meeting to be scheduled at the earliest possible time. Moving on, Russian President Vladimir Putin held a telephone conversation with U.S. President Donald Trump on Saturday, the country's Independence Day, according to Russian presidential aide Yuri Ushakov. According to the Russian presidential aide, the conversation, the fourth such exchange this year, was naturally not merely a routine protocol exchange, but business-focused and highly constructive. It allowed for a frank discussion on pressing issues on the bilateral and international agenda. During the dialogue, President Putin laid out the real battlefield situation, where Russian troops are advancing along the full line of contact. The presidential aide stressed that European nations hold a flawed perception of the overall dynamics and ground realities along the contact line amid the Ukraine conflict. On bilateral ties, the two presidents underscored the importance of sustaining consistent communication, including on military, political, and economic fronts. It is to be recalled that the two heads of state had previously met in August 2025 in Alaska, United States. The United States commemorated the 250th anniversary of the nation's founding on Saturday. In today's final report, the Chinese and Russian navies have started joint exercises in waters and airspace of China's eastern coast that is scheduled to continue until the coming week. In a statement on Sunday, the Chinese Ministry of Defense said that the annual drills off the major port of Qingdao would be followed by joint maritime patrols in unspecified areas of the Pacific Ocean. Separately, Russian state media reported that a cruiser, a corvette, a submarine, and a rescue vessel from Russia's Pacific Fleet had arrived in Qingdao for the drills that are set to run from July 7 to 13. China's Northern Theater Command said its participating forces include 2 destroyers, a frigate, a submarine, a supply ship, and a rescue vessel. The two navies are expected to conduct exploration, air and missile defense, and surface strike exercises. The maneuvers come roughly 2 months after Russian President Vladimir Putin's trip to China, during which he described bilateral relations as having reached an unprecedentedly high level. The two major diplomatic and economic partners have held joint sea exercises since 2012. With this, we'll conclude our domestic and international report for this session, dear viewers. And now the top stories once more. The Southern Red Sea Region Administration conducted activity assessment meeting. Eritrean Community Festival in Switzerland was celebrated colorfully. Pakistan to host the next round of US-Iran talks. And Presidents Putin and Trump held a telephone conversation. This was The World on Monday with ERi-TV English News Broadcast. Dear viewers, from all of us here, thank you for watching. Join us again on our tomorrow's broadcast. Until then, a good night from us, Mara.